Next question here, please.
Hi, I'm Duncan Hugh in comparative literature. Thank you for the great panel. We have a group online, it's a Facebook group called Save UCLA. We're trying to get more inter-campus involvement, walkouts, studying, teachings, whatever we can get going. I know that Berkeley's kind of showing us up in a lot of ways. So I think it's going to have some healthy competition. You can find that on Facebook, and we'd like any information with regard to other campuses and other forms of activism to try and get this a little more coordinated. So.
What's the title again?
Just Save UCLA is just the Facebook group.
Thank you. Facebook group, Save UCLA. The young woman back here, please.
Hello, I'm actually an undergrad second year AP 540 student here at UCLA, history major, double major history and Chicano studies. And going to the comment that Mark Sawyer made, the happy, take away the happy talk, right? So let me make it a little bit more clear. We are going to wipe out the AP 540 community from all the UCs, Cal States, and community colleges next year. We are not going to be able to pay these fees, and then we're also going to see a fewer number of minorities in the institutions, which is really going to hamper. And going to what the comment she made is, I see it also. I've tried to take more Latin American courses, but there's not enough, and these are relevant to my education. And I'm paying the same fees as all the other students are, but yet I see less and less in return. So I would like to know, how is it that as undocumented students, can we do something about it and talk to alumni, or how, as students, undergrads, can we really do something?
Any of the panelists address the issue of undocumented students and the impact of fee hikes?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna hit undocumented students extraordinarily hard, and you see things starting to hit students already. I mean, students are lined up to get into my class. I can't take all the students who want to get in, and it breaks your heart when you have to do that. I mean, additionally, I mean, one of the unsort of spoken things about the furloughs that's really going to affect students is that a lot of the work that gets done around the university is work that faculty are not necessarily paid to do, and they're not necessarily compensated for it or rewarded for it. And if people start doing a little less, like not taking on as many students for independent studies, because people are going to pick up consulting work and things like that to make up for the other parts of the salary, that's going to affect student life substantially. And so things like that, the students you have to get organized, you have to make your voice heard, and it has to be consistent. The AB 540 community is one that really needs to be heard, because it's one that is going to get hit the hardest and first.
So we're planning to have hundreds, maybe thousands of people here on campus on the 18th and 19th of November to protest and try to stop the student fee increase. And we're going to be covering that issue and other issues, trying to deal with undergraduates, graduates, undocumented, documented, all of the students, and trying to stop the fee increase. And so I hope people get involved and come and become part of that process.
Thank you.
Or in other
Next
words,
question.
the regions are coming.
Sorry,
The regions
Sondra.
are coming.
Don't forget, don't just call it a fee increase. It's the Schwarzenegger tax. It's a tax on students and their parents and on their future incomes, and it can be as much as 230%. It's the hugest tax. When they say tax cut, that's a relationship, think linguistics, between the state and the person whose taxes are being cut, but it doesn't talk about the people who are affected by that. And a tax cut is often a tax raise on other people, and that's what's going on here.
Thank you, George. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Kirk. I'm also with the Comparative Literature Department.
Speak a little louder.
I'm also with the Comparative Literature Department. My comment is directed mostly towards Professor Sawyer. While I appreciate your spirit of innovation in this kind of time of crisis, I wonder if you could speak more about this idea of programmatic restructuring, because I think that in this kind of climate of executive rule and executive decision-making, unilateral decision-making, this seems to be a very dangerous proposal. Because while I'm a graduate student who is doing a project on race, I would love to have a center for race and equality, but not at the expense of another department. And I think in this time of crisis, it's such an easy jump. it's great to have a Chicano and Chicana study department, but not at the expense of a Spanish and Portuguese department. And I think in this kind of climate of crisis, that seems like a logical jump to make. We can make these programmatic centers, but at the expense of other departments.
No, I mean, so definitely, and look, one thing we have to think about is crises are also opportunities, and a lot of progressive work on the campus and a lot of intellectual innovation is actually I'm a political scientist, so it is actually tamped down at the level of the departments, right? The departments have this kind of control, and in some ways, while trying to keep those kinds of programs and making sure that women's studies remain strong and things like that, but allowing, I like the idea that women's studies is having that certificate program, that some of our students in political science are going to women's studies to get some training in specific questions related to women in the study of gender. So I think that there are things like this that are happening that can be used very, very creatively and interestingly to enhance the sort of intellectual experience for both graduates and undergrads. I mean, you can think about the G cluster as a kind of model for that. I think of the G cluster as one of the sort of excellent and interesting things about UCLA that's very collaborative, and very progressive in a certain way, not something that is a kind of just a sort of corporate way of shuffling deck chairs. So I think if we drive some of this and present some kinds of innovative ideas from our perspectives, it won't come from the kind of bean counter perspective, right?
Thank you. Next question, please, in the back.
My name is Renee Chianquico. I'm a graduate student in the School of Education. This working handout that we have here, one of the points on point number 5 is to reduce the top 2% of earners. Shortly after the furlough statement released by the university also decided to have pay increases for some top university administrators, which I personally think is a slap in the face for not only students but staff, particularly lecturers, and the staff who were also affected by the furloughs. So I just wanted to get the panel's take on sort of this oligarchy who seem to be unaffected by this economic situation that we're in.
So the difference of opinion is this idea: should we expose abuse, and problems in the UC system? I think we have to work on both fronts. We have to get the money from the state, but we also have to get our own house in order. I'm afraid the state will come up with more money and we'll just use it for the wrong reasons. We've had incredible compensation at the top. We have a growing wealth inequality in the UC system. Money is going to the top. Right before last year, about the average pay increase for the people making over $200,000 was a 40% increase over a 2-year period. There's incredible concentration of wealth here, like in the nation and also at this university. And I think one way of trying to actually get more shared governance, get the faculty more involved, is to try to really control and limit what we call administrative bloat. It's increased something like 235% in the last 15 years, while the number of faculty have almost stayed the same. We're getting more and more administrators having higher and higher salaries, and there's less and less money to do the things we're supposed to do.
My name is Gail Pigman, and I am a professor in the sociology department, an alum of this entire system. And I want to follow up on this last point about administration, because with all due respect, I think that absent from this discussion in general has been that there has to be attention to all the attention to restructuring of academic programs, of whatever. There has to be restructuring and revision of administration and administrative procedures in this university, or in the university system, because I think there's somehow that strata has been left out of this discussion. So I want to follow up on that, and I'd also like to just reiterate or tap in some way some of these conversations. Our mission is supposed to be teaching and research. That's what I have understood throughout my life in the university. And it is being strongly undermined. It's great to see students here. I can only second and urge you to talk to your peers, talk to your families, your communities, and the legislature in Sacramento, but just at a local level. You cannot go to the library between 6 o'clock on Friday afternoon and 1 o'clock on Sunday If that isn't a comment about the nature of the quality of the educations that you deserve and that we would be happy to offer, I don't know what is. I think students have to join the rest of us and be as active as possible. And keep in mind that